Hello, I
Hi.
am Kevin Deveji, your host. Welcome to the American Business Podcast for the next generation. I am excited today. We have a great guest, Anthony Buonaspina from LI Tech Advisors. Anthony, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you so much, Kevin. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
I appreciate it. Well, today we'll be talking about different subjects, so we have a lot to discuss. Well, as a start, would you please introduce yourself to our listeners and our followers, please?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm Anthony Buonaspina, founder and CEO of Ally Tech Advisors. We're a technical advisory firm with a boutique MSP and software division. We're a little different than a standard MSP. I personally hold two degrees, electrical engineering and computer science. Early in my career, I interned at I'll give you an idea, a little background, telephonics company where I helped design the first processor-based turret phone system. Bottom line, it was a highly reliable system. It got installed in the New York Stock Exchange. This is even before I started, college. Um, After that, I went into defense contracting. I did a lot of work there. Made senior engineer after only 2 years. Usually it takes like 10. I was eager to build something on my own, so I started a consulting business, and then writing custom software and so on. Eventually, LI Tech was born. And today we service like the legal, accounting, manufacturing firms, private schools, and so on. And the background in engineering and software has definitely helped me here, and gives me a commitment to delivering innovative, reliable, strategic IT solutions. I love what I do.
That's amazing. Uh, well, one of our important missions in of our podcast is to share educational content and informative content with our listeners, and especially with the next generation professionals, leaders, and workforce. I'm confident it's going to be very educational for our listeners today. Great. Well, also since you have 2 degrees and a lot of experience in technology, how did you choose your current career? And you can also tell us about the most exciting and challenging parts of your career.
Oh, yeah, I love technology. I always did. I always started at a very young age, playing with electronic parts and so on. Took apart things. Sometimes I was able to put them back together. But during my time, like as a defense contractor, I really developed a strong passion for computers and software. I once had what got me and started really into computers was that, and how I service my clients also started from there because I had a technician one time. I had a problem on the computer. He came over to me and treated me very poorly. He basically essentially made me feel stupid for not knowing the solution. The experience stuck with me, and I promised myself I would never ever treat a client that way. Everybody's an expert in their own field, and it's perfectly normal to rely on others to help in areas outside that expertise. And I pivoted my career several times, and again, things change. From electrical engineering, custom software, I regularly take time to reevaluate my direction on a regular basis, and I always keep a close eye on the industry trends. I try to stay ahead and ready to adapt when needed. One of the best books I've ever read was Who Moved My Cheese. It's a great book that really captures that mindset of always checking, how things are going, and if you're in a stagnant career, stagnant technology, or so on, you want to be able to keep moving.
Absolutely, that's very important. Well, especially we are in touch with many different um, leaders of current generation as well as the next generation, as well as we are in touch with many different students, college students or high school
Hmm.
students, for them to uh, choose the right path and also design their career moving forward. It's not easy, and they always appreciate the insights that they can get from the leaders of today. So that's very important that you share with us those insights and your professional background. That's very critical. So recently, when we look at the business world in general, and as well as the challenges and developments, one of the popular subjects is actually AI. AI is changing our lives day-to-day basis as well as our businesses, and there is a certain level of adaptation of AI in business world right now. It's coming up, it's building up. That's what we are seeing. Having said that, what is your take for AI? How it's going to change our lives, our businesses moving forward?
Oh, absolutely. Again, this is the reason I went into this career is that it's ever changing and there's always new stuff happening. AI, 80% of everything we now know is going to change. The remaining 20% is going to be enhanced by 1,000 times. We're entering a new intelligence age. All right, this is an age of automating thinking and decision-making processes. It's an age where knowledge is not just stored anymore in reference, but synthesized, analyzed, applied at unprecedented speeds. The winners in this age are going to be the ones to adapt the fastest. So, and that's what I've been like instilling in my company, um, and it's important to stay ahead. And for the kids and so on that are just starting out with this, it's important to realize that you need to keep ahead of this. You need to learn it. Internships are great. Also, we did a lot of that in the past, as far as bringing on interns, but definitely way to go. AI is the future.
Absolutely. Do you think AI will replace many different positions and occupations in the future?
It's going to replace positions, yes, but it's going to allow those people that have been replaced to basically go to a next level. Okay, it's not going to, it's going to replace a position that might be dangerous work. It might be something that's repetitive tasks, but the people that it's replacing can be trained on basically and enhance their capabilities in other ways. The matter of, again, keeping an eye on the changes that are happening, embracing the change, trying not to be left behind. It's why it's important that you know, you always keep an eye on the economy, the technology, what's going on, and be ready to pivot.
Yes, absolutely. Well, one of the questions that we get from the students and college students and next generation
Mhm.
leaders that we get is whether AI will replace our jobs or whether they can find positions in the future. So, the staying on top of AI is critical in that sense. How about right now? When we look at the AIs, the state of AI right now, how are you seeing it at the moment, and how businesses as well as professionals can utilize it?
In order to do that, we're utilizing it internally first. Okay, we're learning it. It's new stuff. It's we're trying to keep ahead of it. So we internalized it. We've automated processes and such. Instead of me, it's making people more efficient. So instead of like I'm running like maybe with 10 full-time employees that are actually doing the job of 15. So I'm able to expedite it, make things more efficient and so on. It's also so important. To realize that like this is also something that we're eventually going to offer out to our clients, and we really don't even know how to monetize it right now, so we're doing it free for our clients. We're doing business intelligence and training them on AI just at this point because we're learning with them, and we're learning how this is going to help them. I mean, we're able to help an attorney firm find $2 million in by analyzing their data and looking at some medical, it was a negligence case, and saying, look, you have basically $2 million that you can go after. From a health standpoint, it's revolutionizing the health industry. I mean, the about a year ago, I was overhearing a conversation between my wife and her sister about their brother, and they were just throwing out symptoms and stuff like that. He had gone home with food poisoning, and I just put the symptoms into ChatGPT. Comes up and says he's having a stroke. Send him to a hospital immediately. So I called up his daughter and so on. They ended up bringing him to a hospital. Guess what? He had a stroke. So that
Wow.
shows the power of this, and utilized properly. It's amazing.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So it goes to predictive healthcare. That's how it looks
Hmm.
like. So before anything happens, then with the help of AI, prediction will take place, and ambulance will come to you or to others, whoever is needed. Way earlier than anything happens. So before anything happens,
Yeah.
then that's great for healthcare, and
Hmm.
but that's exciting too in that sense.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we're gonna have self-driving ambulances. I mean, it's
Yeah, that's true, right?
we're heading there. Okay. I
Yes,
mean,
yes.
just talking to somebody in avionics yesterday that was saying about planes will soon be flying themselves. I mean, the next couple of years.
No
Which
pilots, no
no
drivers.
pilots, right? It's going to be a lot safer for people in general.
Mhm, mhm. Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. These are really exciting conversations. I mean, when it comes to AI, like right now, especially, the sky is the limit. So we can talk about many different scenarios that
Hmm.
may really happen. So, as you mentioned earlier, one of your expertise in your company is cybersecurity. and you are working with different companies in different sizes and different institutions. Let's talk about cybersecurity a little bit. Uh, how it is right now in terms of your observation in the market that small and mid-sized companies and organizations are adopting different
Mhm.
cybersecurity measures. Um, how are you seeing it at the moment?
Yeah, it's very important because the attacks are getting worse. All right, they're coming in from overseas. They're in AI enhanced attacks, so it's very important that companies take this very serious. Um, the best, when I approach a client and so on, I look at what they have and I give them a gap analysis. But a layered security approach is the best to, essentially reduce the risk of a breach. And this includes, next gen firewalls, endpoint detection, your infrastructure, and the tools and so on. But it's a matter of also putting that all together with making sure your employees are trained and that they understand that, even with the best protections in the world, they are the, basically 98% of all breaches occur because of an untrained employee. So businesses must understand that and also invest the money necessary into that. Realistically, nationwide, I mean, you're talking anywhere between 3 to 11% of your revenue needs to be put towards technology and personnel that you need to help support that, meaning software, agreements, contracts, and hardware replacement cycles, keeping things up to date. You have to invest in, because I tell companies in general, we're all technology companies. I compare it to an attorney or like an accounting firm. You have those, all right. You maybe pay $750 an hour for your attorney, and the thing is, it's important to have that. But you could do without that, an attorney or an accounting firm for a few weeks, a few months. Try to do that without your technology, you're down. Your productivity goes to zero. You're losing money, and that you're losing clients, and the problems that result from that. So I tell basic companies in general, they're technology companies, and they have to treat it as such. All right. The other part of it too is that I deal with a lot of different industries and manufacturing as well. They have to understand that they have to, use and comply with the cybersecurity standards and the industry standards and regulations for their industry, so that they, if they have those compliance and they, hold that to their company, it solves a lot of the problems. Because in the sense of from a security standpoint and also from an employee training, that's a requirement these days, especially for schools, having automated training.
Yes, absolutely. Speaking of law firms, a couple of weeks ago we had Will Neiman, a
Hmm.
litigation lawyer, and he talked about his take. He shared his take and also his predictions for AI to be helping law firms and legal firms and how it's going to be. That was also fascinating conversation in terms of AI and how legal firms can utilize it.
Yeah.
And also, when we look at cybersecurity, especially for businesses in general, how they can start making sure that they have cybersecurity measures in place. What is the how to start it and start implementing best practices?
This goes back to what I was saying before. Everybody's an expert in their own field. If you're an accounting firm, an attorney firm, you're good at what you do. Hire a company in, a consultant in, an MSP in to do that for you, to do a gap analysis. Take a look at your network. Also, I mean, when we go into a company, we look at it, we'll fix it, and so on. But it also should have a regular audit done, an audit on the security. And we don't do the audit. Why? Because I want a third party to check us out as well. It's always a good thing on the client's behalf to have an audit done on their technology. Um, it's just to make sure there's no holes or gaps and so on. But it's very important to get started with that is to, seek the advice of an expert, okay? And understand that, you just want to run your business. You don't have to worry about your technology, somebody else will. So you want to vet a very good company, somebody that's coming, highly recommended. I also would do that. I've done that especially for like members of some organizations I'm a member of. That I'm not in the running to be their MSP, but I've evaluated their other. Their, as a technical advisor, I'll go in and look at all the quotes they got and tell them, yeah, this is the one you should go with. Why? It's because they're gonna. It looks like they have everything in place, not just the tools, but they have the people and processes to support that. Because anybody can sell a tool, and a fool with a tool is still a fool. So you want to make sure you have the right, the right mix and the right strategic partner that's going to help support you.
Is there a certain interval in terms of how frequently they should do an audit for cybersecurity internally?
That's a great question. It all depends on the industry and because some are more apt to get attacked than others, but a minimum of an annual audit should be done. The other one too, like we do ongoing, like PII and pen tests. It's a recurring, regularly. It's just ongoing continuously. So, and that gets reviewed quarterly by either us or the internal IT team, which we will work with them as co-managed. But it again depends on the industry. Some would you would want more often than others. Annual might be fine for some, but in some of the customers that I have right now, we're doing actually quarterly reviews.
Yes, just to wrap up the cybersecurity conversation, can you tell us about the best practices that you have been seeing in the market for cybersecurity among your clients and other companies that you are interacting with?
Yeah, best practices again, like for like schools I'm working with and so on, is following like Ed Law 2D, following FERPA, following NIST. As far as the compliance standards, but best practices, the number one thing is training your employees, and making sure that they understand that they are the front line, and when they get an email in and so on, that they have to be cautious about what they're clicking on. Even with all the protections and tools in place, things still get through, because there are things and tools that you should have in place to help, eliminate, let's say, 80 to 90% of the phishing attempts. But still, you're going to have issues. Things do happen, so that's why you want to have a trained employee. So that's the like number one thing you want to make sure happens.
Wow, that's actually a great insight. I appreciate it. Well, let's talk about some predictions for 2025 and further. Uh, what are your predictions in terms of economy and job market overall?
Well, if I had it really, if I knew exactly what was happening, I'd be definitely but it's very uncertain times. But job market, basically, I mean, 2025 and beyond, I can say this is that we're going to see a lot of remote and hybrid work. I know there's a back to work, initiative going on, but people have been spoiled. They already know and love to work remotely, or hybrid, have an office to go to. And, that will continue to normalize hiring beyond local boundaries, regionally and globally. Companies like ours, we're already leveraging global talent and stay agile and competitive. We're able to get talent from anywhere in the country or the world. And some of the people we're dealing with are really good at what they do. So we can go beyond our boundaries of, in our case, it's Long Island, New York. From the economy remains always uncertain, and it should always be closely monitored, not just in terms of how it impacts, your own business. Very importantly, it's also how it affects your clients. All right, understanding your clients' financial pressures and adapting your services accordingly, it will be a key to long-term success. I regularly interview my clients. I ask them how things are going. What problems are they running into? What do they see in the future? And so on. So I can adapt my services to better, you know, um, help them going forward. Again, a lot of pressures and so on, but like, the thing is pressure makes diamonds. So it's a matter of addressing and seeing the pressure and, you know, basically changing, pivoting, to be able to adapt to help your clients along and to actually help them, you know, maybe financially make more money, make, or get increase efficiency, especially with AI and so on, to show them how they can do more with less.
Yes, that's that's a great prediction. Appreciate it. Well, earlier in our discussion, you mentioned about internships a little bit.
Yeah.
To our uh, audience, especially uh, feature leaders and professionals, how do you see internships and apprenticeship programs?
Well, let me tell you, I interned in the beginning, all right, and I learned a great deal being thrown into the fire and being, you know, talking to engineers and so on that have done that, and they gave me advice, some of it good, some of it bad, but the bottom line is it helped greatly. All right. So interning in general is a great idea. I mean, I actually added an extra year to my college. And instead of going 4 years, I went 5 because 1 year was just interning. It was like a co-op program and so on. It was the best thing ever. As far as on our end, I mean, there were times that we had anywhere from 2 to 5 interns working alongside my technicians and engineers. It's a great way to give back to, basically, train and also give them an insight and really as if to what they want to do, and also help nurture their expertise. Some of them love cybersecurity, some of 'em like custom software, some of them want to play around with the hardware end of it. So it's a matter of like, interning is great. I highly recommend it, and I also highly recommend. I mean, two of my best hires were my interns that I had. All right, so you end up seeing how they work and their dedication, and they're in line with our core values. I'm saying it's a win-win. All right, right now we're mostly working remotely. All right, so it's harder for us to have interns this way, but it's still very important.
That's amazing. Yes, absolutely. About apprenticeship programs, actually last week we had Michael Tadisco with us, and he talked
Hmm.
about the apprenticeship programs as well as the grants available for companies. He also talked about the importance of internship as well. So it's critical for
Hmm.
next generation to get internship and prepare themselves for the business world. I think it's great, and I'm glad that you I get also the similar feedback from you. So that's important. And when looking for internships and finding companies for internships, do you have any advice for the next generation?
Well, when you're looking, I mean, one of the things is I've always had like schools contact me, or I contacted the schools one way or the other, asking them if they had interns or an intern program, which most do. So when I was looking for help and to fill out like maybe during the summer we had a lot of summer projects, I'd reach out to the local schools and ask them what they had. And also they had fairs typically we can go to and so on where I can, you know, um, even sit down and discuss this with the students. Trade shows I've been at it were great too because there's a lot of students coming through and stuff like that asking about internships and what they could do, and I've pretty much a lot of education. But I always like to pass on whatever knowledge I had. So a little thing now, a little piece of information now can make help avoid a major mistake on their end. So it's always good. I'm always willing to share information.
You are the CEO of Long Island Tech Advisors. You are the founder. You are successful at what you do.
Hmm.
Do you have any role models that you've been following to be successful?
Oh, of course. I mean, Jeff Bezos, of course. His. I love the fact that he's not competitor obsessed. He's customer obsessed. We're the same way. We focus on our customer experience and so on. Um, it's basically the vision, the strategy, relentless execution. All right. And the other one is Elon Musk. He's not just business exec. He's also offering down in the trenches with the engineers, figuring out ways to improve systems. Me, as a CEO, I'm also an engineer still, so I tend to get into the weeds, and I like that once in a while. But I'm reminded too, I'm a CEO, and I have to, but I do like getting down there to see how things are going. Um, you know, it's important that you again, work with the employees, understand where they're coming, understand their job. All right, so that you can actually help from a leadership standpoint, give them guidance.
For next generation, for them to find the role models, do you have any advice for them?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, read a lot of books. Read constantly. I read at least one book a month. It's the best way to grow personally and professionally. So, there's game changers for me included, like Never Split the Difference, Traction. You can't teach a kid to ride a bike at a seminar. 10 times is easier than two times. The more you read, all right, the more perspective you gain. And that's invaluable in making smart career decisions and becoming a strong leader. Read the books in which you're interested in. Read the leadership books. Read about technology. Reading is important. I mean, any CEO that's even like Elon Musk, that's all he does. He reads. If you ask him how he got to where he was, he said he reads. If he doesn't understand something, he reads. So when it comes to like choosing like a career path and so on, explore early and often. All right, intern where you can, shadow professionals, and definitely talk to professionals. You get real world exposure wherever possible, right before locking into a direction. The experience will help you discover like you're passionate about, and also just as important in what you're not passionate about. All right. And most important thing, stay curious, adaptable, and always keep learning.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. That's very helpful for the next generation. Truly
Mhm.
appreciate it. Before we end our episode, do you have any other advice for the next generation that you like to share?
Just keep learning, and talk to people that and surround yourself with people that you want to be like. Okay, and if anybody tells you you can't do something, that's more reason you should be able to do it. Okay, because I was told in the beginning that, oh, you shouldn't do this, it's not going to work, you're leaving a job. When I was very successful as an engineer, I went out on my own at the time when I was doing, like, I was getting paid a lot of money, I was doing a great work, but I took the chance. All right, so the thing is, take risks. All right, don't worry about pressure. Like I said, pressure makes diamonds. And always learn, continuously learn, and definitely consult in anybody, your mentors, anybody that you see and you hold in high regard. Have conversations with them.
Thank you, Anthony. For our listeners to get in touch with your company, organization, how they can get in touch with you.
Oh, the website, I'm sure, litechadvisors.com, or just, give me a call. I'd be more than happy. My policy is, our core values and our prime directive, because I like Star Trek, all right, is help first, sell later. Okay, and with heart, and heart is an acronym for our core values. But the thing is, I will always give 15 minutes of free advice to anybody that asks. Somebody calls me up, it might be a company that's too small for us and it's not. But what I did, like even yesterday, I've spoken to a, a prospect that way too small for me, but I gave him advice, and he says the two nuggets of advice I gave him were invaluable. He says he would have made some major mistakes if it wasn't for that. I said, then my day is done. I accomplished what I wanted to do.
Appreciate it, Anthony.
Mm.
Yes, that's very gracious of you, and it's been very helpful for all of us, for our listeners, to us as well. Thank you very much for joining us today in your busy schedule, and also, looking forward to having in our next episodes because there are more things to talk about as well.
Thank you so much, Kevin, for having me. Really appreciate it.
And to our audience and listeners, thank you very much for joining us today. Me right for the American podcast, business podcast for the next generation. Please join us. Also, please follow us in YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, Facebook, and looking forward to seeing you at our coming episode for the American Business Podcast for the next generation. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you.